were all with Michael Jackson Tuesday night and Wednesday night before he died. How did he seem?
Michael was great to me. He was happy. You know, we did a long, exhaustive technical rehearsal, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. And then by the time we got him to the stage, I just like to describe this, because my band just saw this. They were like, man, MJ had a glow about him. He had his shoulders back, his head up, and he just looked great. He sounded great.
Inner happiness.
He just had this triumphant feel about him, just like, you know.
There are reports circulating that he didn't want to do all these shows, that he maybe didn't want to follow through on the commitment.
When we did the deal, and I'm the one who did the deal with Michael, is originally when we were doing this, we were going to do 30 shows in London. We didn't know how big it was going to be, nor did he. He was a little insecure about it, how the public would be, him coming back after 12 and a half years. So, and normally when you promote concerts, if you're doing 30 shows, you don't put them all on sale at the same time, because it's a disincentive for people to buy early.
Initially, only 10 shows were announced.
10 shows, and then when we sold those out, we're going to roll into the next 10, roll into the next 10. It became relatively obvious in the first pre-registration on a Wednesday that this thing was unheralded. I mean, we had over 1 million registrations. So we knew we were going to blow through the 30 shows. And I called a gentleman named Dr. Tomei, who was managing Michael at the time and was his representative, and I said, listen, we're going to blow through the 30 shows in the pre-sale. Okay, we're going to have nothing left for the general public. We're going to need to add more shows. Will you talk to Michael? So then he called Michael and then called me back and said, Michael will go to 50 shows as long as you make sure the Guinness Book of World Records is there to record that.
Because there is a report out that, by unnamed sources, that he didn't want to do 50 shows. You're saying point blank that is not true.
That is absolutely not true.
It's the way he wanted to do them, you know. Michael wanted to make sure that he had that sort of turnaround time. Because what Michael did when he went on stage, I mean, he put it out like no other performer, ever. I mean, he exhausted himself.
What happened? I mean, what do you think happened to Michael Jackson? You saw him the night before he died.
We all saw him that night when he finished Wednesday night, 12:30 in the morning. I looked over, and he, Kenny, and Frank DeLeo, who was managing him during this process, were hugging each other. I walked him to the car, and I was going to my car, and he put his arm around me, and with that soft voice of his, he whispered in my ear, "Thank you, we're going to get it there together. I know I can do this."
Randy, I mean, you're a businessman. From a business standpoint, did you have concerns about being in business with Michael Jackson? I mean, given his history on backing out on some concerts.
The answer, Anderson, is yes. It would be untruthful of me to say I wasn't. We had those concerns. I discussed it with the gentleman I work for, Phil Anschutz, who owns the company, and Tim Lewicki. But you know what? In very few times in anyone's career do you get a chance to touch greatness. Okay, and to me, it was worth taking that risk. And a reporter asked me if I would do it all over again, and the answer is hell yes. As
part of the business proposition, Michael had to undergo a medical exam to get insurance.
Right.
Do you have the results of that exam? Was there a drug test for that exam?
The insurance carrier sent a doctor out from New York named Dr. David Slavitt, I believe. And independent of us, we had nothing to do with it. He examined Michael for about 5 hours at his house, and I think they went somewhere for some other tests, and I'm sure there was a blood test. We're obviously not privy to the patient-doctor relationship with that information, but the insurance broker told us that he passed with flying colors, okay, and that the only issue was there's some slight hay fever.
So as you have been watching over the last several days, allegations come out about drug use, what do you think?
Well, you know, I don't know, because I wasn't with him 24/7. I've spent a lot of time with him. Okay, all I know is the Michael Jackson that hugged me and said goodnight was a healthy, vibrant human being about to undertake the greatest undertaking of his life. Okay, and something happened between 12:30 when he left us and the morning when I had to rush to the hospital when I got the first call.
That night he did ask his doctor to stay overnight. Did any of you have any indication that there may have been something wrong with him that night?
He left happy. I mean, he looked into my eyes and he said, "Are you happy?" I said, "I'm happy and proud." It was an incredible night. And I said, "Are you happy?" And he said, "I'm very happy."
As a matter of fact, I had to stay and wait for MJ because his car was blocking mine.
Yeah.
So the security team was there, and then he's coming. I'm looking at him like, "Dude, I'm ready to go. I'm tired." And he's looking at me. He says, "I'm sorry, Bearden." And then he goes, Well, I'm going to see you tomorrow. Yeah, you happy today? It was a good day. It was a good day today. He's like, yeah. He always had this thing like, yeah.
The decision to have a full-time doctor, was that his decision or was that AEG's
No,
decision?
it was, this was a debate. Actually, my production guy, Paul Gongaware, who's in charge of the budget, had a big fight with him because we wanted to hire a doctor in London. I mean, and I know I could get in trouble for that. I know there are good doctors in Bangladesh, but the shows weren't in Bangladesh. They were in London. Okay, it made no sense. We spent a lot of money to take Dr. Murray, Conrad Murray, out of his practice. Okay, well, he went public with what the deal. It was $150,000 a month, plus travel, plus hotels, plus per diems. As producers of the show, it made no sense with the doctors and the medical and what you have in London.
But Michael Jackson demanded that
He
doctor.
demanded.
That wasn't a doctor you selected, that was a doctor he insisted.
Michael said to me, you don't understand, because I took one last shot at talking him out of, and it has nothing to do with Dr. Murray, no judgments whatsoever. I just said to Michael, I said, Michael, we're spending too much money, it doesn't make sense. He says, you don't understand. My body is the machine that fuels this whole business, okay? I need that kind of attention. And you know what? When Michael Jackson says that to you, and there's this much at stake, you don't argue.